Hello, friend. How are you doing? This is Anna Sabramowitz, and I'm going to do another episode of these awesome instructional design models, as I do, that you can then pull out of your toolbox and bring out whenever you need to achieve a specific goal. Let's get right into it. Okay, so this one that I'm going to share with you is a proof of concept that we developed for Doctors Without Borders. What you're looking at right now is a picture of an Ebola camp. And then you get this area of interest, which is this little triangle, and I'm going to click on it. And what it brings up is this contextual question, right? This scenario, something where I have to make a decision. And what's awesome here is we've added a little video to each of these questions, and it's only 4 seconds, but it adds so much depth, right? Underneath that, you'll see I'm presented with, and this is a shell for this kind of model. So underneath that would be the options I would choose based on that scenario. But before I chose any of these, I could also refer to the resources, which are at the very bottom. And these resources are, it could be anything from ethics, a medical manual, how to deal with all kinds of things. So anything that's relevant to that situation is packed in right when I need it most, which is when I'm making a decision. And then once I make that decision, I get presented with the consequences. And boom, then I get to go on to my next question. And I do this through a sequence of 5 or 6 of these. I'm going to let you go through another one just to observe how this looks and works. So then after we go through 5 or 6 of these, and obviously this is a choice because it really depends on what's relevant to your work and your situation. Here we thought 4 or 5 would be great. Then what happens is you are presented with final end of activity constructive feedback, which you choose what you put there, but it can be more directive, something that can maybe instigate the learner to check out other resources or go back and try the activity again, right? What's awesome about having these linked to consequences is that it might make the learner think, hey, I'm wondering what this activity would be like, or what the consequences would be like if I chose a different route. And you can do that here, which is awesome. What I like about this specific model is that what you can do is save yourself a little bit of time by not having to repeat the situation you're in. All of your questions, which are not related to each other, they're only related in the idea that they are from the same context, happening in the same space, or related to a specific, geographical area. But they're placed in this way that helps the learner conceptualize why they're important, when they're happening, without you having to do a lot of primary setup, going, well, you're at an Ebola camp again. You don't want to have to repeat yourself. You've already placed them in a context, and it just flows very nicely. So, where else could you use something like this? And I'm thinking, like, there's so many different places that you could apply this model, and I'm hoping you can come up with a couple of your own and share it in the comments. That'd be so fun. So here's some that I came up with. Hospital, right? You could have a bunch of situations that happen in specific areas of the hospital that deal with specific policy to maybe this particular area. Like maybe you would deal with a situation differently in this location than you would with a very similar situation, but because it's in the OR, it's a completely different aspect. So the context of that location can actually have great impact on how you're asking your question and the resources that the learner would have to access for that situation, just because of where it's located. Let's say it's a police or military situation, and then you have a bunch of situations that, it's like crowd control, or a riot is arising, or there's a fire that somebody set to a car. So lots of different, how would you handle this? And then they're all kind of combined, and it's kind of interesting because it's in the concept of maybe it's a city or the countryside, or, who knows, or maybe it's an arena full of angry people. You never know. Let's say it's a distribution center and you've got a whole bunch of different problems arising all over the place. And in the Ebola camp example, what we decided is we're going to give them to you one at a time. Well, maybe you want to give your learner a little bit more autonomy and give them the questions all kind of at once, and they maybe have to choose the ones that are maybe the most challenging or the ones they want to solve first. So there's a choice there for you as an instructional designer. Maybe there's some of them might be increasing in complexity, and some are just equally weighted, and you just let the learner decide for themselves. But it's just more fun than doing it in a linear way. And then here, you got a construction site, right? How is it going? So you get the idea. It's quite a lot of fun, depending on your background. And I'd love to hear what your examples are, and share your comments, your questions, anything about this activity in the comments. And oh yeah, remember to subscribe, okay? Seriously, it's awesome. I'll see you next time. Hope you found it helpful.